Well, I'm going to welcome everybody to the Netsync and Meraki Public Safety Pizza Cast today. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. My name is Warren Wilson. I'm the Physical Security Practice Manager here at Netsync. You're going to hear from the Meraki team and a lot of exciting things that they have going on. So we're excited that you're spending time with us today, and we think you'll get a lot out of it. Let me tell you a little bit about Netsync. Netsync, we're an award-winning solutions provider that helps public safety as well as private enterprise clients digitally transform their organizations and utilize technologies to make informed and impactful business decisions. Today on this session, we're going to focus pretty much on Meraki and their overall solution, and in particular the MV Sense cameras, best-in-breed solutions. Just to let you know, Netsync is one of Meraki and Cisco's largest SLED partners in the nation, and we think we're well suited to help you out with these solutions. We have many practices that we've been kind of delivering services to over the last 15 years to many of our organizations. We have an enterprise networking practice, which we feel is very important. You're going to put these MV Smart Sense cameras on your network, so we feel like you need an organization that can truly understand that. We have a data center practice, and we're an AWS partner. You're going to hear a little bit later in the presentations about some of the analytics that the Meraki cameras can utilize with AWS. And our cloud practice, we have a cybersecurity practice. Again, these are very secure endpoints, but we understand the importance of placing these on your networking and making sure that they are secure. We have a wireless and mobility practice, and you'll hear a little bit later about DNA Spaces, but we can definitely help you utilize that and laying out the wireless network to help support that. And it really becomes a fantastic solution whenever you integrate that with the MV cameras. So we have a managed services and a customer experience practice. Not only can we help you design, implement, and install your solution, but we can maintain them and really help you out for the life cycle of the project. We have a collaboration practice, so we have people that are experts in WebEx teams, as well as our own in-house solution that we've designed that basically runs on Informacast, that we can basically bring the MV Smart cameras into that platform called Olympus, and do a lot of really neat things. We can turn lights on, we can turn lights off, we can send images out to endpoint devices, a smart board, a TV, we can lock doors, unlock doors, really give you some command and control over your campus, over your entire district. We have an IoT practice, and you'll hear a little bit about these cameras aren't your traditional old cameras, they're actually smart cameras which become sensors on devices within IoT. We have an optical WAN practice, so we can help you to basically connect all of your facilities together to ensure that you have the proper bandwidth and everything without your facilities. We have an end-user compute practice, so a lot of school districts are looking at one-to-one and different things of that nature right now. We can definitely help with any of that. And then we have the physical security practice that I manage. We can help you come out and take a look at your facilities. We can kind of help you with camera selections, help you with a proper solution. We can design it, we can implement it, we can help you maintain it down the road. We've really made a large commitment to utilizing the Meraki cameras. We're partners with several of the analytics companies. One in particular, Every Angle, you'll hear a little bit about it later on. It can do a lot of really nice things and empower the cameras. Also, several of the Meraki access control partners that integrate, and so we can offer you an end-to-end solution that you can utilize the MV cameras as well as the access control and look at one dashboard to be able to handle that. We also feel like we're really focused on being able to help you through our SLED customers. We maintain contracts that support state, local governments, K-12 and higher education. We're on the Texas DIR contract, so that really makes it easy for procurement, and we can definitely work with you on any of that. So you're going to hear a lot of nice solutions today. If you have interest in any of them or all of them, definitely please contact your Netsync rep or your Meraki rep, and we can help you look at those. But I'm going to turn it over to Susan now at Meraki, and she can introduce the team and kind of go down the agenda of what we're going to cover today.
Thanks, Warren. I appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining the presentation today. I just wanted to introduce myself and the team before we get started. My name is Susan Robb. I'm the Meraki product sales specialist for the Texas location. We have Kiara Montalvo on today. She's my systems engineer for Meraki as well. She's going to be doing the Meraki overview as well as a Meraki MV demo. She brought on a special guest, Danielle Stacy. Danielle is an associate systems engineer that will be discussing some pieces and points that, along with the MV the MV product as well. We also have Katie Antonetti. She is our MV specialist for all public sector throughout for Meraki. And then we have Juan David, who is our product sales specialist for the DNA Spaces, and he will kind of give us a quick demo in regards how DNA Spaces and Meraki MV work together. Kiara, I'll send it over to you.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thanks for the intro, Susan. And thanks everybody for being with us today. Like Susan said, my name is Kiara. I'm the Meraki systems engineer for Central and South Texas public sector. Happy to be here with you. If you need anything from Meraki, please reach out to us. We're your team here. And same for like on both the Netsync and Cisco side. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Meraki before we dive deeper into the cameras. Just for those of you who aren't familiar with the portfolio already. So we're a cloud-based solution, and we truly have a full stack end-to-end solution. Our philosophy, what's behind our vision and mission of the company is creating technology that simply works. It's truly revolutionizing networking in a way that's simple for you to manage, simple for you to configure, but still powerful, that can still enable you to be impactful with your network operations, have the higher SLA and uptimes, and have the most visibility you can have as a network administrator. We were acquired by Cisco many years ago in 2012, and since the acquisition, we've grown exponentially because we've applied that expertise of Cisco in the industry on networking, security, collaboration, data center into our own Meraki portfolio. And we've created the best for our customers. So we provide a full, complete cloud managed IT solution from wireless. That was our conception. That's how our company started. We've got security and SD-WAN. We've got switching. We've got wireless WAN with our Meraki cellular gateway. We've got Meraki Insight for application and WAN analytics and assurance. We've got MDM, endpoint management with Systems Manager. And last but not least, we've got smart cameras. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the most important product in our portfolio is our Meraki dashboard, because it truly is that single pane of glass where we manage every single part of our portfolio. Whether you only have wireless on your networks, whether you only have cameras, or whether you have a full Meraki stack, the Meraki dashboard will be our single pane of glass where we manage our entire infrastructure. So it's a full cloud managed solution. That's the only way to manage it. Out of band management, meaning no network traffic ever goes to the Meraki cloud. So you can have that peace of mind being a cloud first solution. But that's how the architecture works. And we'll get to see the dashboard towards the end of this presentation. I'll do a demo. But I wanted to guide you through what's in our portfolio. Now, I truly believe numbers speak more than words, of course. So I put this slide here with just a few stats on what we got out there. So here you can see a snapshot. We've got like a live dashboard that gives us little green dots for every active Meraki network that we have out in the world. And you can see, wow, all those little green dots are active Meraki networks. We've got more than 10 years of experience. We've served more than 500,000 customers today. I think the number is 2.7 million networks. And that's over 20,000 plus locations. The way we've grown, the way we've been impacting our customers, it's extremely positive. We've got a lot of great feedback. We've got a lot of great use cases. We'll talk about that towards the end. We've got a very good success story. But if you go to Meraki.com and go to use cases, you'll see a lot of success stories that we have with customers that have been applying Meraki solutions in their infrastructure and how successful it's been for them. All right, let's talk about what we're here today for, that is MV smart cameras. So what's the philosophy behind the Meraki cameras? And it basically is applying that Meraki expertise in the cloud, again, being a cloud first technology, applying our expertise in distributed computational systems, all the expertise behind building this robust and secure product that's also user-friendly. So putting that expertise on UX design to a video surveillance solution. It's not about just creating another physical security solution. It's about actually solving customer problems. It's about making cameras smart. And that's why Warren was saying at the beginning, the MV cameras are more than just a video surveillance. They're smart cameras. They'll work as sensors. What's the architecture that we're built on? It's very simple. We record, like there's the scene that's being recorded, our camera records footage, there's no centralized storage because storage is kept in the camera, there's on-device storage, and these cameras communicate to the cloud. We need to give them internet connectivity. So if you're locally connecting to streaming video to go see what's in the surveillance system, you can have local video access. But if you're streaming from a remote location, you can stream remotely. No need for a VPN, no need for any special systems. The system will automatically detect if you're streaming locally or you're streaming from a remote location. And if you're streaming from a remote location, we're basically just using the Meraki cloud to build a secure proxy or as a proxy to build a secure communication. And that's how we keep end-to-end security. Because again, it's a security system, but it's built, of course, with security end-to-end. That intelligent streaming, it's extremely important because one of the things our customers always ask us about is, hey, how much bandwidth am I consuming in this cloud model physical surveillance system? And it truly is less than 50 kilobits per second upstream when it's not watching video. When I show you the demo, the dashboard is going to actually show you stats and how much bandwidth a video wall will consume, for example, if you're streaming remotely. So it's very intuitive. We provide you all the information that you need as an administrator. And the architecture being straightforward, being that we have this on-device storage, it allows us for flexibility. It allows us for simple deployment. And later in our presentation, we're going to have Katie talk to us about how this architecture is different from our traditional systems that perhaps you're familiar with or you're used to, or that you currently have in your infrastructure. By the way, if you've got any questions, feel free to post them in the chat in the Q&A part of this WebEx. You'll see an option there, and I've got them here in my second screen. I'll try to catch them while I speak, or if not, towards the end of the presentation, we'll answer all of your questions. Like I was mentioning before, this architecture is designed with security in mind. So we've got hardware and software security built in. All firmware upgrades can be automatically, you can schedule them. Always on encryption, that's extremely important. There's not going to be any issue if I mean, I think one of the questions we always have is, hey, what happens if the camera is stolen? Everything is encrypted. That could happen with any security system, right? The good thing is you'll get access to the video till the point that it was connected to the internet. If for any reason our camera loses connectivity to the internet, it'll continue to record. Another benefit of having on-device storage, and we'll be able to access it when this device is able to communicate to dashboard again. And last but not least, we've got role-based access. It's extremely easy to just configure an administrator to access one camera, a couple cameras, one video wall, or a full network of cameras, and very easy to share live stream, very easy to export video, calculate a checksum to make sure this video exports are not tampered with. And we've got audit logs. So we will be able to see in dashboard everyone that is trying to access our streams captured from our cameras. What do we have in portfolio? So we've got indoor and outdoor cameras. In the indoor part, we've got the MV32, which is a 360 fisheye camera. That's honestly my favorite one. So perfect use case for that one is put it in the middle of an auditorium, of an area that you want to fully monitor, and you'll get full 360 visibility into that area. And then we've got the MV12 fixed lens, and we've got the MV22 very focal. We can adapt the zoom of the camera. For the outdoor camera, we've got the MV72 series. And that's a very focal, again, zoom capable, IP67 rated. It's perfect for those harsh environments, and specifically designed for outdoor environments. When it comes to licensing in Meraki, we pride ourselves in our very simple licensing model. For every device that you buy for Meraki, there's a 1-to-1 ratio of license to hardware. Every device comes with a license. And it's no different for the cameras. So you can buy a 3, 5, 7-year license, and you can have warranty included in that license. There's nothing additional that you need to get for the device to operate. It's just the hardware and the license. 24/7 support is included. You can call in our Meraki support, open a ticket whenever you have an issue, and that's at no added cost. All software upgrades and bug fixes and new features are included in that price, so you never need to worry about paying extra for anything new that we release. Now, our cameras, the largest storage that we have in our cameras is 512 gigs. And I'll show you how we can work with that capacity to extend the amount of video that we can keep on that storage. But sometimes there's a requirement to have 24/7 footage recorded, right? It's just part of the requirements that we have as a business, and our customers were always asking, how are we going to solve that? We love the cloud first infrastructure. We love the on-device storage. We love not having to have a centralized storage. But what if we truly need more and more storage? So in partnership with Microsoft Azure, we now offer cloud archive licenses. So you can buy an additional license to have 24/7 footage saved from your camera sent to this archive, and it can be from 30 days all the way to a year of 24/7 footage. One last thing that I'll touch on for the deployment part of it is that going back to that first slide of, hey, Meraki is all about making things simple. How do we make more flexible deployments? How do we allow for more simple, flexible deployments that best adjust to what the customer needs are? So for example, you already have an analog system and you're ready to upgrade. How do we leverage that cabling that you've already invested in? Or maybe you have an outdoor environment that you've never had a camera in, but there's a post where you can actually mount a camera, but you don't really have internet wiring there. Or maybe you need to spin up a temporary site survey because you're site security because you're having an event and you need to place some cameras. So our Meraki cameras, they come with wireless capabilities, allowing you to just connect to a nearby wireless network, connect the camera to a nearby wireless network. And we've included as part of our portfolio this low voltage power converter, because again, a lot of customers that have invested in analog systems will have that supply for wherever they have the infrastructure to mount cameras. And in this way, making the conversion, it's as simple as just including this power adapter. This will give us the PoE power required by the camera, and that's it. We can configure wireless configuration, and it'll come up. It'll record footage. We'll be able to access and stream that footage remotely, locally, however we need to. And again, it's extending that functionality with even less effort. Now, big part, camera as a sensor. This is more than just a camera that gives us a lot of flexible deployment capabilities. And there's a fact, I love this slide. It's just one sentence, but it is true. The majority of video is never watched because we record hours and hours of footage, but we truly need it whenever we're investigating an event, right? Or whenever we've got security teams monitoring. So either they're watching it live, or if we're going to go check our footage, it's because we're investigating an event. And it's hours and hours when we're trying to investigate a 1-minute event. So we need to, our goal with our Meraki cameras was making them smart so we could do more with them. So it was more than just recording footage and getting alerts when motion was there. It's actually understanding customer behavior patterns. It's actually learning from what the camera is seeing and being able to provide insights over time, like how many people I'm seeing or how many vehicles am I seeing, and actually being able to provide context based on what the camera is seeing. So that's why, again, just beyond motion detection, we've included object detection in our cameras, which basically means that we can anonymously detect people. We can detect an object in the form of people and detect objects in form of vehicles in our camera's field of view. So for example, when we're trying to count people at where we're placing our camera, or license plate detection is another big use case that we have. So it's incredibly valuable. I'll show you in dashboard how the stats that we're given thanks to this, but how is it that we're accomplishing it, right? Machine learning. We actually have a machine learning engine embedded within the Meraki camera that allows us to understand actually how a car looks like and how a person looks like. And that's what's giving us the intelligence to be able to give you those stats on how many people and how many cars is the camera actually seeing. And the most important part is, what are we doing with it, right? I mean, yeah, we're getting, from an input perspective, we're getting lots and lots of video data. We applied that machine learning and we can determine, hey, how many people or how many vehicles were here at X point in time? How many people are within the camera's field of view right now? And how can we export that information and make sense of that information with third-party applications? That's where our MV Sense API comes into play. Meraki is an API-driven solution, just as all Cisco's portfolio. If you read articles today, like for years, Cisco has been investing so much in being an API-driven company for our entire portfolio. And Meraki is not left behind from its conception. We've been an API-driven solution. We've got open API. You can go to developer.cisco.com. I'll show that in a second. And even learn how to work with this APIs, take classes on how to work with this APIs. But this is huge because this is what actually allows us to create applications like what Juan is going to show us on a COVID case, where we're trying to make sure that we're complying with footfall, with physical distancing, with the amount of people that are in a premises at a specific moment. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Katie, and she's going to talk to us a little bit more about traditional security architecture.
Awesome. Thanks, Kiara. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. So, you know, some of you on here may be familiar to or used to managing and using traditional video surveillance systems. And as Kiara flips to the next slide, you'll see here an image of what one may look like. So as you can see, it's pretty complex, rigid, antiquated. And what we mean by this is we end up with multiple vendors supplying pieces of the system, like the camera, a different vendor for the video management software, potentially a different one for your storage, which would traditionally be a network video recorder, and the list goes on. And it requires manual configuration, as these pieces don't really behave that well out of the box together. And in environments of hundreds or thousands of cameras, manual load balancing of these cameras to the storage box can become a nightmare. So, you know, in addition to that, hardware and software security levels aren't always ensured, as all parts of the system typically need to be manually updated. Video is rarely encrypted end-to-end in these solutions as well, leaving users open for major vulnerabilities. From a storage perspective, if we look back on the physical security industry over the past 2 decades, the technology itself really hasn't changed. We started writing to VCR tapes and then moved to DVRs, and now we're at network video recorders or NVRs. But that technology itself hasn't progressed. It's just the media that it's being written to has. Another pain point of this is that storage box requires data center space. So either tile space in your data center, or in some cases, I've seen it thrown in a closet somewhere, full of dust and not very safe or secure. Someone could easily run off with that. So in addition, these systems are typically set up with single points of failure. So unless somebody is dual streaming a camera, when one NVR storage box goes offline, all of the cameras associated with that box stop recording. And you can forget about having access to any of that video as well until it gets back online. So these are just risks that, today's security professionals and with IT getting involved, we're just not willing to tolerate anymore. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out one more thing. If you do want to view your video, which, of course we do from time to time, it typically requires different software or plugins installed on each separate workstation or device. And remote access typically means like dealing with complicated VPNs and firewall rules. And then finally, exporting video clips can require special proprietary media players. So it's difficult for users outside the system to be able to view that video of that incident. So what's the way forward? Where's the industry going? And how does Meraki address all of this? So Kiara, if you want to just flip to the next slide so we can just put a big X through this while I talk about how we're addressing this. And you heard it from Kiara already, but to sum it up, we provide a highly efficient, simple to deploy, manage, use video surveillance system. You can scale one camera at a time or hundreds or thousands, only while ever adding that additional camera. No separate hardware, software, etc. We inherently provide secure end-to-end encryption, which is, of course, key for your network security. And we've now distributed the risk over each camera. We've also made viewing very easy, both locally and remotely, just through the Meraki dashboard. All you need is an internet connection, no software, no plugins, etc. And if you need to simply share a video file, very easy to do to export, and it's all done in MP format. So anybody can go ahead and view that. And as Kiara mentioned towards the end, it's not just a camera, right? Our Meraki MV smart cameras aren't just cameras, they're sensors. They have processing happening at the edge on the camera itself. So we have access to almost real-time analytics. We're using machine learning. We've got APIs and constant software enhancements that are available for free to our customers on the software enhancement side. And finally, with video surveillance deployments getting larger, definitely not smaller over time, simplicity is key, right? Which is inherent in the Meraki dashboard. And with that, Kiara, I'll pass it back over to you.
Sounds good. Perfect. So I'm going to move over to a quick Meraki demo just to showcase you how is it that our dashboard looks like. So here you can actually see, so I'll first start mentioning this left pane that we have in our Meraki dashboard, because I mentioned at the beginning, the Meraki dashboard is our single pane of glass. And whether you have only cameras in your network, or whether you have switch and wireless and MDM, this is going to be the place where all those solutions are going to start popping up if you have a full stack. Right now, we're demoing our Meraki San Francisco corporate network, which our admins have gracefully just made available for us to show all of our customers. That's how open we are. And we're going to see the camera part of it. So if you hover here over cameras, we go to monitor cameras, we can see here just at a glance how we have a list of all the cameras in our infrastructure, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, 10, 1,000, 100. So we truly, we can have a single view of the connectivity status of these cameras. We can see here just a general a tab, a bar that shows for the last day, how's the connectivity of my camera looking like. And I can even look for the last month. So a big issue that we traditionally hear from our customers is, hey, I realized that the camera was off when I went to check some footage, and I realized that the camera was offline yesterday. Didn't get an alert, didn't have a single pane where to review the status of all of my cameras, and that's what we're giving you here with this main page of our main camera view. You can configure alerts for if a camera goes offline, if a camera is disconnected for power, if it's disconnected from the internet, and you can truly have, as an administrator, that deep visibility into your entire system, not camera by camera. If you click into one of these cameras, and I've already have the tab open, it's going to take us to the camera view. And we have what we call the digital zoom, so we can actually just scroll up and down and zoom into a point of the camera without losing quality. But you can see here, so we've got the live feed of what we're seeing. This is our bike entrance in our San Francisco building. And you can see here, so we've got what we call the navigation bar. And we can very easily just navigate in time to go back at a point in time, maybe recently, scroll down to kind of move the scope of that navigation bar. The screen is showing that it's been online, and it's kind of hard to see right here, but you can see a small little yellow rectangle that just shows that there was some kind of motion detected in our system. Going back to feed is as simple as clicking here in the moment in the date bar, and you say, hey, you know what? I think something happened on Tuesday morning, so let me go ahead and investigate an event. Since Tuesday morning, my bike has been missing. So I'm going to go say Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. I want to start checking the feedback there, the footage there. So when we go back that time, and we can use natural language, we can see there's a lot of yellow motion there. So we can see there was actually some motion detected there. And as it gets more orange, it means that the motion is stronger. So our motion detection engine, it'll detect from something as low as a shadow moving, and you can configure it to just detecting people moving. And we can actually do a motion search. We can actually go ahead and say, hey, for this particular part of the camera, I want to go and check what's been the motion that has been detected in that particular, just that particular zone in the camera's field of view. And it goes back to, hey, most of camera footage is never watched. And how do we investigate an event in a simple manner? So we just crop the image. We're going from like 7:30 in the morning or 7:15 in the morning to like 9:45. Here we're seeing the specifics, and we can change that very easily. We can change it in the nav bar. And here is just going to show us the results. And what is it that we're seeing here in the results? We see what we call the motion recap image, which is basically a collection of snapshots into one single image so that you can, at a glance, understand what's happening with the event, right? So that you don't have to go and watch the minute, the 30 seconds, the 2 minute of what happened, but you can actually, at a glance, just say, hey, I think I understand what happened. This person seems like it came in and out of the bike room. So let me actually go ahead and explore it. And I can just download that image, or I can go ahead and play that video, and it'll play for me. Now, a big important part of it is, okay, the video walls of the Meraki camera, right? Having that contextualized view of the cameras. So we can actually see here how we can just collect, and we can do up to 16 cameras in one video wall. And we can go ahead and click edit the layout. And moving the camera views is as simple as drag and dropping or including cameras from all the cameras in your network into this video wall and creating that view. And you can put it bigger, you can put it smaller, and play with it however it's the most convenient for you. But going back to that event investigation, let me actually go ahead and do that motion search in a more contextualized manner to actually figure out if that person actually came back into my room. So let me go back again to Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. And I'm going to perform a motion search in that same area of the camera's field of view. So I know it was this camera. I did that. Oops. I do the camera search, and it'll jump back to the results that I'm having. For some reason, I think I need to move the scope of this and extend the scope of what I'm investigating actually, so that I can actually go ahead and understand what will my camera be showing. So we can see actually right now that person is going in, it's just checking. It'll go ahead and check the camera, the security person. We can see in the person's logo in the shirt that this person is just security, and we saw in this camera that this person actually didn't even go into the room. So nope, I've investigated. This was not it. I'll go ahead and proceed to doing more motion search. But that's how easy it actually is to go ahead and investigate an event. Now, going back to the camera view, I was mentioning how easy it is to modify the different configurations to be able to extend that storage that we have on the device. So we can configure a quality and retention profile. That way we don't have to configure camera by camera. We just generate a profile and assign it to many cameras. And we can get this granular. We can say, hey, I'm always going to record video, or I'm going to record it on a particular schedule. Maybe I just need to record from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. because that's when my security team is not there. Or maybe I need to record always. Do I want to enable motion-based retention? And this is a really cool part because that's another big Meraki differentiator. Because most of security systems, they do motion-based recording. They detect the recording, they detect the motion, and they're only going to record that part of it. What we do with Meraki is we record everything, and we just delete the footage where no motion was detected older than 3 days. That way, you as an administrator have the ability to go back into the video footage and capture or export some video that perhaps is interesting for you, because maybe you're being asked, hey, what happened at 8:30 in the morning yesterday? And you want to say, hey, nothing. And maybe you say, hey, there's no evidence because the system didn't record it. That's kind of like the evidence we have. You can actually, with Meraki, have the evidence if you go back in time and just keep it. We've got 2 versions of motion detectors, just meaning we've put more intelligent algorithms into the version 2, just demonstrating all the work that our product management and our engineering teams have dedicated into these cameras. That motion detector does require a little bit more bandwidth, but you can say, hey, I'm going to restrict the bandwidth that this camera has. So let's see if I enable motion detection. The other thing is that you can also just select a particular zone where you want to record, right? Like maybe the way you've placed the camera, you're seeing a lot, but you don't want to record everything. So you can actually detect an area of interest. You can change the video resolution, you can change the video quality, and you can see with all those modifications, we can even get more than 3 months of camera recording. So that's how we can change it. Now, the last part of this demo that I want to show you is the analytics part of it, because again, it is a smart camera. We're detecting motion, we're making it easy to configure, easy to administrate, easy to access video. But how is it that it's intelligent? So again, we've got machine learning in these cameras. We're able to identify people and vehicles when they come in and out of the camera's field of view. So the statistics that we give you from a dashboard perspective is, hey, we're saying that the most utilized hour looks like it was 5 in the morning. Estimated peak occupancy, it's saying 0, because the way this is being calculated is the amount of time that a person will stay in the camera's field of view. If it stays for more than 10 seconds, it'll count it. And then the total entrances that this camera has seen. So maybe it's people just walking by. They didn't stay in the camera's field of view, but that they did enter the camera's field of view. Yesterday, we had a very interesting question on if the camera is able to detect mysterious or suspicious activity. So for example, a person just walking in front of the camera and staying in front of the camera for too long, or maybe we're trying to identify homeless people in a particular street. So we can actually know how much time an object has stayed within the camera's field of view and export that information through an API. In this analytics part, we can also have motion heat maps. And the motion heat maps, what they indicate is it's very descriptive. It's where has there been motion in my camera's field of view. So from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we see it's mostly from here to there. So it probably was that person walking in, just checking the security system in the door, and then walking out the other way. Or maybe from 6 to 7 a.m., it seems like we saw a lot of motion in this area of the camera. So again, just at a glance, we can get a heat map on the motion that my camera is detecting. With that, I want to talk about one more thing. I was mentioning we are an API-driven solution. And all that information, so video exports, snapshots, configuration of the camera on quality retention. There's so many things within dashboard that we can configure and gather information via an API. And the way we integrate our cameras with third-party applications, with scripts that are going to make customers' lives easier and are going to make these cameras even more intelligent, it's at the core of what we offer as a solution. So if you go to developer.cisco.com/Meraki, you learn about everything you can do with the Meraki APIs. But MV Sense is a specific API for the Meraki camera that allows us to capture information, that intelligent information, where we apply machine learning to the camera. So again, going back to that question of, hey, can we detect people in the camera's field of view? So here's basically how we're doing it. We're basically putting an XY coordinate of an object within the camera's field of view, and we can say, hey, is it a vehicle or a person? In what XY coordinate it is, and how much time has it spent in that particular location. So lots of use cases for this. I'll mention one, and I'll hand it over to Daniel in a second. But Warren mentioned it at the beginning. We've got partnership with technology partners that actually just work towards creating application on top of our Meraki cameras. Every Angle is one of them. Netsync has worked with them in many use cases and have been very successful. But for example, now in COVID eras, they've created an application for several different outcomes. So for example, PPE detection. And they work in conjunction with Meraki cameras to detect that people are wearing the proper PPE, or customer waiting. How much time are they spending within the inside of the camera, or suspicious people detection. And right now I'll hand it over to Danielle. She's going to show us an extremely cool integration that we have with one of our collaboration platforms and in partnership with AWS, where we actually send the snapshot of the cameras into AWS for intelligence. So I'll stop sharing, and Daniel, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Yeah, I'm Danielle. I am an associate systems engineer. And as Kiara said, I'm going to show you how you can integrate the Meraki API into our collaboration platform, WebEx Teams. So I'm just going to share my screen. Yeah. So WebEx Teams is kind of our instant messaging platform. So you can send a direct message to certain people, or you have team spaces where you can add different groups of people. For the purposes of this demo, we're talking to a bot. So here we have the Meraki bot. And I'm just going to say that I want it to do the API demo. And so I just send a message, and it'll come back with a reply that should come back with a reply that it's, yeah, here with a card that we want to start the demo. And so it's going to create a new team space for us where we can start the demo. And it gives us some options over connecting with an existing dashboard. So perhaps you already have Meraki cameras, you've already built up your organization, and you just want to integrate the API with that. You can do it from clicking this radio button, but for this purposes, we're just going to have a temporary demo organization. Then it's going to ask us if we want to create some new networks. We don't want to for this demonstration, but you can say you can create up to 5 different sites for this. So not going to have any new networks. But as I'm doing this, you can see it's just clicking buttons, and there's no programming that's necessary. It's really intuitive. As long as you can just follow the instructions, you can pretty easily figure it out. There's a very low learning barrier. So it pops up this card where we have the options to configure, monitor, or retrieve. And for here, we're going to retrieve some snapshots from the camera. And we want to, again, if you have your organization already set up, you can retrieve snapshots from that. But for here, we're gonna get the snapshots from our demo temporary organization. We're also gonna send the snapshots to a computer vision engine for analysis. So that's where the machine learning comes in, because it's more than just getting like snapshots of what the camera is providing. It's also sending those snapshots to an algorithm to actually dissect what is in that picture. So we're gonna retrieve it. And when we do that, it takes a minute, so it tells us a little joke. But for now, I have one set up here where I've already done it. And so here's kind of what it sent back to me, the image. And as you can see, there's some cars in here. There's a person walking. And so it recognizes that a face was detected. And it also puts some labels that there is a vehicle, there's a van here, there's also a road. And it, with the labels and the objects, it gives us a confidence score. So that's with the machine learning. It's kind of comparing it to other images it's seen with those labels. And so with like 95.6% confidence, is saying there is a vehicle in here. In addition to those labels, we also have objects. So here it recognizes there's a person, that person's wearing pants. There's a few tires here. And it also has a car and a truck, and here's a car, and I believe the truck it is picking up is in the background here. And so if we want, we can see what new images it got for us. Nothing too exciting, but as you can see, it recognizes there's a car, there's some roads. It'll actually come back. Oh, here we go. We got another person. It recognizes there's a pedestrian in this one. And yeah, I guess it's the same pedestrian over here, but it did recognize there was a person. So that's just kind of a few fun examples of what it can do. A possible use case would be, you can see it counts how many objects. So if you had this in a parking lot, you could see when there were a lot of cars filling your parking lot. That would be an interesting case to have set up with this, where it actually counts how many cars you have. And with that, I'm gonna send it back to you, Kiara.
Perfect. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. All right. I just got a few more things just to close it out. Why truly the MV cameras? I promised to use case Miami-Dade Public Library. They were very, very successful with deploying Meraki cameras. Had the ability to count in-person visitors, see the amount of engagements on PC reservations, engagement on Wi-Fi, because they also had a Meraki wireless networks. And they were able to generate all this report thanks to the visibility that our cameras offer to them. The use cases extend to so many. In education, school staff, school security. I mean, going from K through 12 to higher ed, it's okay. Staff or security needs to receive a notification if there are students in an area where they're not supposed to be. Or even public safety, right? I mean, if we want the fire department to determine that there's no people left in the building. Retail, it's incredible. We've seen so many use cases. I know that falls outside of our patch for public sector, but retail is a big one, because they put this in a store. They can count engagement. They can count people in the store now for social distancing compliances. And capacity compliances. So it's incredible. It goes beyond what you can just imagine. Like, honestly, have an idea of what you need to do with the camera, and we'll probably find a way to do it through an API. As a summary, just to close it up on what we've talked about today before I hand it over to Juan, we've talked about the cloud architecture and how that truly plays in our favor for a physical security system. It's easy to access, easy to configure, flexible, simple to administrate. And it's a simple licensing model. You get one license, you get coverage of that device, you get support, you get all your firmware upgrades. You can truly scale the system from tens of cameras to hundreds and even thousands. And on top of that, they're more just than smart cameras, right? We've applied machine learning to make them even more smarter than just it being connected to the internet and detecting motion and being simple to configure. We can do object detection, we can count people, we can count vehicles, and everything that can be done through that camera can be integrated with third-party applications through an API. Easy to learn. Again, go to developer.cisco.com. And we even have free Python classes if you're not so much into programmability. With that, I want to hand it over to Juan David because it's one of our biggest. I mean, when we talk about this API-driven integration part, it truly is huge what we can accomplish, especially within the Cisco portfolio. So Juan, I'm handing it over to you. Or do you want me to share your slides? Do you want me to share your slides?
Oh, I can share it. It's okay.
Okay, perfect.
Could you, okay, let me just change the presenter. Okay, thank you, Kiara. So I'm going to show you today the integration that we have between, are you seeing my screen?
Not right now. I think we started seeing it and it dropped.
Okay. There you go.
Yep, we can see it now. Yep.
I'm going to show you today the integration between Cisco DNA Spaces and Meraki cameras. But before starting with the integration, I wanted to give you a little bit of information on what is Cisco DNA Spaces. Cisco DNA Spaces is Cisco response to location services based on wireless. So what we do basically is we try to understand what is going on in the physical spaces using the wireless connectivity. So we're able to provide metrics, analytics, what is going on when your physical spaces. We're also able to take that information and to integrate with third parties. And we're also able to create some actions like translating this into workflows or even triggering notification to third parties. So what we basically do is we have different verticals and we have different outcomes. For example, in retail, we're able to know the frequency and the duration of a visit. Workspaces, we're able to know how long is the work days, what are the entry times on the location, the exit times. Those kind of information we're able to analyze it, taken from the Meraki wireless network, and show it to you in the dashboard. We're also able to understand, for example, in terms of COVID-19 and times, different policies or measures that you have applied in terms of building occupancy, understand if those measures have had an impact using the wireless networks. So what we're doing is translating all the information that we're able to get from the wireless into some metrics. In addition to that, we're also able to allow your visitors to onboard to the network through smart captive portals, very intuitive smart captive portals, which can change based on the behavior of the person visiting the location. Like for example, there was a county that needed to show different information based out of the visit. The first time that the visitor came into the county, they will see some information welcoming them. But the second time, it will show something more relative to what they want to show to the community, like events, festivals that they are having, so they know that those festivals are coming. So those kind of things we're able to do. And also, we can go a little bit beyond and even engage with the community of the person visiting the location and send messages via SMS or email, or even profiling that person based on if they come once a month, twice a month, or if they come in the mornings at lunchtime. So it's pretty flexible in that sense. So what is DNA Space in terms of how do you install it, how do you consume it? So it's quite similar to Meraki. We're a cloud-based solution. It's a solution that is being widely tested around the world. We have more than 1 million access points connected at the moment. 1 trillion updates, more than 75,000 locations. And it's really easy to deploy. It will take between 30 to 60 minutes. And since it's a cloud-to-cloud connection with Meraki, is pretty simple. So now we're launching the integration with Meraki as a part of our Get Back to Business strategy to help customers, for our customers to get back to business. And I will tell you a bit stories about use cases that we have done. So the first thing is integrating the two platforms, which is quite a couple steps. And after that, what you will have to do is configure the cameras. But our configuration of the camera is not what Kiara showed you. No, it's a configuration where you define just a tripwire. And this tripwire is to define if the person is coming in or is leaving the location. So this is how the tripwire looks, that you will do that, and that's all. Starting that part, you will start counting how many people are in the location. And you have information like footfall and presence. And this is good because it saves you time of trying to understand how many people are in a different location, especially when you have more than one entrance, because you could define like different camera, different entrances, and Cisco DNA Spaces will understand the people entering or leaving those exits or entrances belong to the same location, and we will count that people and the presence of those people for that specific location, even though that we have two cameras. So it's save the burden administrative or the administrative burden to check on each of the cameras or check on each of the entrances and know how many people do we have inside. So it helps a lot. And in terms of COVID, in terms of that COVID-19, this is important because what we have seen in Europe, in the US, and other parts of the world, now the people are going back to their offices, is that it's important to know how many people are the locations. And sometimes there are regulations about how many people could be in the locations. Or sometimes there are policies within the company of how many people will be in the locations in order to secure the employee, the health of the employee. So there's an interesting use case is Miami-Dade Public Library System that Kiara already mentioned. These guys, they have a challenge. Their budget is allocated based on the amount of people that go to the libraries. So the challenge was to understand how many people were at the libraries. At the beginning, they thought about using the wireless. They also have Meraki wireless, but the challenge there was that not everybody connects to the wireless. So what we did is they deployed the cameras, we integrated with the cameras, and now today, they're able to understand how many people are right now in each of the locations. So it's pretty good because you will know how many people are in the whole entity or company or business or education institution. You will be able to know right away how many people are, and you could drill down and go to a specific location, understand how many people are in that location. So for them, this was pretty impressive, and it really solved the need of knowing how many people are in the location in order to be allocated the amount of budget that they needed to keep being open. So the question will be, what cameras are supported by this integration? So basically, all the cameras that support Meraki cameras that support analytics are supported. So we have the MV32, the MV22, the MV12, and the outdoor MV72. What are our next steps on the integration? So what we're planning to do is, on top of this in the future, to be able to have density triggers. Like, for example, if you define a threshold and you get to that number, we will be able to set an alarm that will be sent to the business via WebEx Teams, via SMS, via email, or even via an API, triggering an API, and alerting that we already reached the threshold and something should be done. that is the next step that we're working on having with this integration. If you already have Meraki cameras and if you're planning to have Meraki cameras, you could test this out. We have trial licenses. You just have to go to dnaspaces.cisco.com and request the trial. That's as simple as that. I will paste the URL in the chat window so you have it. And with that, I will hand it over to you, Kiara. Okay.
Awesome. Well, that's it for us, guys. We're opening up to any questions that we may have. We had one, if there was any integration with 802.1x authentication. So yeah, for the wireless part, there is when we're configuring that wireless connection. For administration, we create those directly in the Meraki dashboard. Since the way you get access to Meraki is you have to be assigned to be an administrator by the actual administrator. That's how we ensure the most security. And we do have dual factor authentication for even added security, but that is truly the only way to configure an admin. And that way you can apply the different levels of administration. So for example, say you have 5 different locations where you've got Meraki cameras. You can separate those in 5 different networks and provide different administrator to those different networks. So you don't have to be a full all network admin. So you can just provide, hey, this location, it just needs this one admin. And it's all from that centralized dashboard. But do we have any other questions? I don't see any in the chat or in the Q&A.
Yeah, I don't see any. So I don't know if anybody else on the Meraki team had any kind of last statements they wanted to make. I don't see any other questions. If not, then I can kind of close it out and we can kind of conclude unless there's any more questions coming or any more statements anyone on the Meraki team would like to make.
No, this is just, I want to thank everyone for coming. If you guys have any questions outside of this and you guys decide, hey, later on you want more information, please contact myself or Kiara, my counterpart. Let Warren know. We'd be more than happy to jump on a one-on-one call with you.
Yeah, and definitely after this, we're going to have the Netsync marketing team will be sending out an email to everybody with our contact information. So if you are interested in the MV cameras or anything you heard about today, please contact your Netsync rep or your Meraki rep, and we definitely can help you out. If you're interested in the cross-line detection or selecting the correct cameras or somebody from Netsync doing a site survey kind of helping you select that, we definitely can help you do that. So we'd be interested in working with you. I know that Meraki has several trials. You can take a look at the camera and see if it's something you'd like to integrate into your solution. We definitely want to help you guys out with that.
Great. Thank you, Warren, for having us. This was great. I appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of the week.